It's just no fun waking up every day and knowing you have to chase the drug. You spend half your day chasing the drug and the other half of the day wondering what you're going to do the next day. I never would have thought in a million years I would stand in front of a group of people and say, my name's Trish and I'm a recovering heroin addict.
This does not discriminate. Doesn't matter how old you are, how, well you do in school, or if you're athletic, or if you're, the color of your skin, your gender, none of that matters. And that's what's so scary about it, is it can literally be anybody.
It's a heartbreaking and family-destroying national epidemic. The devastating effects of heroin knows no class, gender, or ethnic boundaries, and it's hitting small cities and towns particularly hard. Dubuque, Iowa is no exception. The police say they first discovered it in town in 2011 when 5 people overdosed, 2 of them dying. Just a year later, the number of overdoses jumped to 23, a 460% increase. In 2015, heroin took the lives of 6. In 2016, 9 more. Cassandra Shaw knows those numbers only too well. In 2014, it claimed her only brother.
Some of my pictures, I don't know which way. That's when his daughter was born, and that picture really shows his personality, because that's just that goofy kind of person he was. This is one of my favorites, because this is when he'd been clean for a while. That's when, seeing that smile is when he was really, truly happy. We chose to have the Serenity Prayer printed on the inside. He always had something with him that had the Serenity Prayer in it. He was diagnosed with depression later in life, anxiety. It's really like all those basic mental illnesses that a lot of people have at least experienced on a situational basis in their lives. But once he started using the drugs, he realized this is an escape. This is a way to not feel. And that was kind of, excuse the pun, but the nail in the coffin. I think that first time he ever did heroin, he really was signing his own death certificate.
Like almost all heroin users, Jeremy tried multiple times to get clean, only to relapse.
There were times where my mom and I would sit and actually almost literally plan his funeral. I would have dreams of seeing him in a coffin, and just that anxious feeling of not knowing what's going to happen from day to day I don't wish that on anybody.
The Dubuque Police Department's Drug Task Force have seen all too many cases like Jeremy's.
We've seen the same people overdose 4, 5, 6 times. You want to smack them and say, "What are you doing?" You want to give them somebody to give them a hug to say, "We're sorry." You want to throw them in treatment and say, "We'll see you in a year." You want to take them to jail to make sure that they're not going to use again.
Addiction to pain medications like Oxycontin and hydrocodone are often precursors to getting hooked on heroin.
The issue was we already had people here addicted to the pills. So when the prescriptions, when they had issues with their prescriptions, the doctors would question their use of them, or they would run out, or someone would steal them. And the heroin became available, they started using it, and that's what we saw.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, my husband and I, when we lived in Florida, we were prescribed pain medication. We were on it for years, but eventually once you start taking it, you have to keep taking more and more to even feel better. We moved up to the Midwest and realized that we couldn't get prescribed what we were used to getting prescribed, so we just had to cut off cold turkey, which the withdrawal symptoms were awful. And we stayed clean for probably 6 months maybe, and then we started looking for something. At first we found someone with like hydrocodones, and then we found someone that had heroin. You become so physically dependent on it that you can't even get out of bed in the morning unless, you get your fix. Typical Saturday morning when I was using is I would not shower, not put on makeup, not even take the dogs out probably, honestly. I would definitely not be reading scripture or saying a prayer. I would get up and start making phone calls right away and start finding out who was holding. Going to group actually is great. It makes me not feel so alone. Recovery is a very personal thing. You can't be in recovery for anyone except yourself. It's nice out today. I go to my group sessions there at least once or twice a week. So they open up in the morning at 7 a.m. and so I'm at the door at 7 a.m. to get my dose for the day so I can dose and then run to work and be to work in Dubuque by 7:30. The Galena Clinic has saved our lives. I wish more people knew about them. I didn't even know really what they were about. I thought methadone was like trading one drug for another, but it's not. Methadone gave us our lives back. It cuts off, well, it makes it to where you don't have any withdrawals and you don't crave heroin or any kind of opiate. It may have made me put on a little weight, but I'd much rather be a little overweight than be a drug addict and clinging on for life. Usually I get a Tootsie Roll afterwards, but the doc's not here to give me one, so. And that's it. And then I just return the empty bottle when I go back tomorrow.
Not every heroin addict is as lucky as Trish is to have access to a treatment center. Professionals in Dubuque say the lack of treatment options makes it hard for people to get clean.
30 days is not enough. Research tells us they need, 90 days to 6 months, really, to just focus on getting, returning to a normal lifestyle. A detoxification center is what we need, at least a ward or a set of beds where people can go to detoxify their body when they've made a decision to give up heroin, and then go into inpatient treatment for 30 to 90 days, and then really go on to a sober living facility, which is what we used to call maybe a halfway house.
Looking for help, Cassandra's brother Jeremy left Dubuque for treatment in Illinois. She believed he was finally going to get clean, until one day her phone rang.
All I knew was that she was hysterically bawling. And instantly, I knew. And I fell to my knees in my driveway. It doesn't matter how many times I pictured being in that situation, or how many times I thought that I was going to lose him. There's no preparation. There's no way to actually be prepared for that phone call. There's still times where I'm like, it's not real. It still doesn't feel real. But it is, and that's when it hurts the most. What do you want to say next?
I love you so much.
I love you so much.
And then I love you so much.
We always come out here in April for his kind of anniversary. We just send out some balloons up to heaven for the kids.
Dear Daddy, I love you so much.
Love Preston, huh?
Layla was only a few months old when Jeremy passed away, so for her to still say, I love you so much, Daddy, and you're the best daddy ever. It's sweet to hear. It's heartbreaking because she'll never really have that chance to know.
I just wrote down to my son and that it's been 3 years, and I wish I had 5 more minutes with him, and that I love him.
1, 2, 3.
Oh!
Right in the tree.
Didn't go as planned, but we did notice that all of the notes, or all of the balloons that got stuck in the tree were ones that had notes on them. So we kind of figure it's Jeremy's it's his way of making us laugh.
Everything happens for a reason, so maybe he just wanted us to see our balloons for a little bit longer, I think.
Hey, I can see my right one.
I can see it too. Never, ever would anybody question if he loved his kids or not. And it just really shows that grasp that it can, not even that it can take, that it will take, that it does take.
I miss you. Do you miss Daddy? Yeah. Well, I gotta go to work, but I guess I'll talk to you maybe tomorrow. Yeah, would you like to talk to me tomorrow, buddy? I gotta go. I love you. I want you to be a good boy, okay? Be a good boy for Mommy. Play with your toys. Take care of your baby sister. Make sure you eat lots of vegetables and fruits. And Mommy's gonna give you extra love and a hug and kiss from me. I love you, buddy. Okay, bye.
I know that he really wanted to be better. And I really think that had he made it to rehab that next morning, he would have actually done it. And until people start talking and, talking to their friends, talking to their families, especially talking to their kids, it's going to remain one of those stigmatized situations where people are afraid or ashamed, or we have to break that.
People can turn to other things other than drugs. You can turn to your family, you can turn to your friends. You don't have to escape reality to feel good. Reality can feel pretty darn good.